Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Budget Committee. We have a two-part Budget Committee meeting. We'll recess at the end of today and move on to the Thursday meeting afterwards. Before we go any further, any member of the public wishing to speak further regarding an issue on the 2018 Budget Committee agenda for today may appear before Council at its meeting on December 18, 2007 at 7 p.m. when the recommendations from this meeting will go forward for final consideration. If you wish to speak as a delegation, please sign the sheet located at the back of the room or notify the Clerk's Department no later than noon the day of the Council meeting. Any PowerPoint presentations must also be forwarded to the Clerk's Department no later than noon the day of the meeting. Members of committee, I understand that the Mayor is on his way, that he's held up at an early 8 o'clock meeting, but will be here shortly. Are there any other regrets? I don't see any. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? I see none. Very good. There are two items on the agenda. One is the shovel-ready project list, which is consent item number 1, and the delegations to the 2018 Budget Committee. As we will be recessing and moving to the November 30th meeting afterwards, we'll deal with each of those formal items on Thursday. So we are going to go straight to our delegations. We have 4 delegations that are listed on our list here, and I will look for other members of the public who might be here who may not have signed in previously to make sure that everyone has a chance to speak. So if we can call the first delegation, each delegation has up to 10 minutes, followed by questions from the committee members.
The first registered delegation is Andres Shide.
Good morning. It's been a while since I actually talked in public, so if I turn all red and pass out, don't.
Well, we're very gentle.
Okay, thank you. So I'm here, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Budget Committee. I thank you for your time. I'm here as a representative of the Olfa Masters Swim Club.
Andash, it would be helpful if you just point that to you, and then everyone can hear you both here and at home if they're watching.
Now he just made me even more nervous. Okay, yeah, I'm here as a representative of the Oakville Masters Swim Club, which I've been a member for the last 10 years, and we actually presented last year as well. Again, about the same thing that I'm here again to discuss is basically there's one line in the proposed fees for pool rental, which will be increasing. Well, this year was $163 plus HST. Next year it's going to go up about 6% to $172 plus HST. So it's roughly about $196 an hour to rent a pool. In total, the total hourly cost would be about $186, which is at a 100% cost recovery ratio deemed by the town of Oakville. Core youth programs have a cost recovery of 50%, and so their hourly rate is about, I think it was like $120 an hour, so it's quite a jump from the youth program to the adult program. When I first joined the Olfa Masters, our hourly rate was $95. So for our 2017-18 season, which runs from September this year to the beginning of 2018, our club has struggled in its membership drive, trying to fill the empty spaces from those who have left the club with new members. The majority of the reason why people are leaving is due to high fees where they can go to other swim clubs at a lower cost or simply just don't swim at all. With next year's pool rental increase, this will give us a larger handicap in recruiting and may eventually kill the swim program that has been in Oakville for the past 40 years. I'm not sure if I had presented a...
You have, on the screen, which isn't showing there, you do appear to have a presentation. Did you want to show that to us specifically, or... because otherwise our members will get a copy of it.
Okay, no. I'd rather, as far as, yeah, because it's been 7 minutes, I thought I'd be talking a lot slower,
you've only been 3. You've got tons of time.
I do?
Oh,
okay.
Yes. No, you have no worries.
Okay.
If there's
if
some
you could show me
material,
the, yeah, that would be.
if you'd like to take us through that, I think we'd appreciate it, and it would make full use of your information.
Okay. Okay. So again, just going on slide 1, who are we? So the club has been formed in the fall of 1974. Sorry. It was created in the fall of 1974 and has been a continuous operation for the last 41 years. Currently we have about 140 members swimming in the morning or in the evenings. When about 3 years ago, there was about 200 or so members. And so now that the pool costs have gone up, our membership has been dwindling and dwindling. Access to the membership is completely open to everyone in the Oakville area. Members can come from every socio-economic age group and demographic in our community. Most of us just swim for fun, which is about 80%, and the rest actually swim in various competitions, provincially, nationally, and internationally. Our oldest member is 78 years old and is an internationally aged rated competitive swimmer. An increase in the 2018 membership will cause many of our members to reevaluate their financial capability to continue swimming with us. Our main concerns is really those who are just entering like in their mid-20s or retiring. They basically cannot afford to swim at Olfa Masters. The slide is just basically a graph showing our membership and the pool costs. So you can see that that's for just your review if you wish. And 2 years ago when we decided to, I guess, try to keep the program, most of our swim times are for an hour and a half. To alleviate the cost, some of our swim times have been cut from 1.5 hours to an hour, just to reduce our fees to the various members. Okay, and there's some municipal benefits to us keeping this program alive. Includes any adult who express any interest in access of our swimming program regardless of age or initial ability. So we have various levels of beginner swimmers to actual swimmers who swam for like 20 to 30 years. Some of our swimmers suffer from chronic health deficits and say our program is a major reason for their improved health and well-being. Our senior swimmers credit swimming in our program for their high level of physical fitness. For the past 8 years, we have run annual charity swim and proceeds are directed to various registered charitable organizations democratically selected by our members. Our competitive swimmers are proud to represent Oakville at provincial, national, and international swimming competitions and further have the potential to be excellent ambassadors for Oakville when they travel to compete in other cities, provinces, and countries. Here's just a picture of us presenting a check for just over $11,000 to the Big Brothers and Sisters. Last year's charity, yeah, and so we normally raise about $10,000 every year for charity, and it's usually in the spring. And here's another lovely picture of the group when the Worlds were in Montreal in 2014. Last year, Worlds were in Hungary, and we had a representative of 2 people. This slide here is the reason why I'm here. For the highlighted, is that the rates will be going up 6%, and it's basically going to kill our program over the next 4 or 5 years, I predict. What will 2000? If all our internal expenses remain roughly the same as 2017-18, except the pool rental rate increasing to $196 an hour, our rental charges will become $80,000. We will be forced to take action to avoid this happening, so basically reducing our time from an hour and a half to an hour, or maybe just cut a day. If this increase in rental happens, pool usage hours will have to be reduced to achieve any fee amount tolerable to our membership, and rental revenue to the town will be correspondingly less than expected. cost recovery. As municipal taxpayers, we can't argue against the principle of cost recovery. We have concerns with how the principle is being applied in the case of pool rental rates. At what point does the concept of livable Oakville cross paths with cost recovery? In conclusion, we are delivering significant municipal benefit by delivering a swimming program that makes Oakville a more livable community. We are providing a successful, structured, and rigorous 40-week swim program for adults that provide real fitness, health benefits not replicated by any town-sponsored swimming programs. The planned 2017-18 pool rental rate will be unaffordable for a percent of our members. There are less expensive options nearby that our members are actively investigating. Our club viability is threatened next year by the continuous pricing policy towards another rental price increase. So basically, I'm just reading what I read, and hopefully I got my point across. And if you have any questions, please.
You do, Councillor Elgar.
Thanks for coming. I remember a presentation similar last year.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, can you tell me what the rates are for a similar program in Burlington and Mississauga, Brampton? Like, have you seen what their rates are?
Well, just personally, I know for Burlington because I also swim there, and I've asked the person running the program. It's about $150 an hour.
About?
As far as the other regions, I haven't investigated on what the rates they charge as well.
Okay, so currently you've got 140 members?
Yes.
And what was it last year?
We lost about 15 or so.
15? Okay.
And it's getting, well, first, it's our coach who's having the huge struggle of trying to fill in the pools time. So normally, now swimmers swim only one day as opposed to like 3 days or so forth. So she still has the same amount of pool hours, we just have to fill in more people. More people join, but only swim less hours. And it's a bit of a challenge as opposed to having people on a constant basis at the pool twice a week or 3 times a week, as opposed to trying to garnish more people to swim 1 day a week.
So how many hours did you have in 2017, or how many hours do you have in 2017 on an annual basis?
Well, we swim, 6, 8.
31 hours.
Hmm?
We lost 31.5 hours from 2016 to 2017.
So we've kept the same hours from last year to this year,
Okay.
but the year before, because the price had decreased for this year, and it's going to increase this year. The hourly hours have remained the same.
Okay. Well, at the appropriate time, we'll get staff to see if we can find. I'd like to know what the rates are everywhere else in the vicinity. So
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Others? Okay, any others over here? Councillor Chisholm.
Thank you for your presentation. Question I'm asking is, when you, on the per unit of $196 an hour is where the new rate's going up, how many people in your club are in that pool at that 1 hour time frame?
How many?
Yes.
There's about 35 right now.
So,
Because they swim 3 times a week, and so instead of the Tuesdays 1 hour, before it used to be an hour and a half, and so there's about 35 members that swim members swim Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then I would swim on a Monday, Wednesday time slot. And so those who...
okay, so the issue that you're coming forward with is the actual rental rate, not the number of hours that you're engaging in your swimming.
No.
Is that
Yes,
correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. When you look at $196 per hour divided by, say, 30, 35 people, that's not an acceptable rate per person? It might be around maybe $14, $13 an hour.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable?
Well, you can go to the town for rec swimming and pay $4.50.
But that would be recreational swimming, am I correct?
But we're just doing the same, just swimming, length swimming.
So In length
So
swim?
there's basically nothing stopping from us to actually going into a length swim pool time, pay our $4.50, and then just start swimming there as a group. But then we're still missing our coach and so forth, so it's not.
So it would be safe to say that your program or your activity is a step up from just a general swimming program.
That is correct, yeah.
So you have other costs incurred with respect to not just your hourly rate, but your coaching fees on top of that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any others? So can I ask you, you spoke specifically about the 6% increase. What would you like to see happen? What would you like to see happen going forward? Where do you land on this particular?
It's my understanding that the adult core program is basically getting eliminated, and it'll just be adult swim. With the adult core, we had preferential time slots after the youth core and the youth programs. I'm hoping we still keep that, but I also, would like to see our fees about the $140 hour rate, and which would make our club viable for all members, no matter how old or young and what kind of, I guess, social group they're in, so you could say.
There's one other question I have for you, which is not really rate specific. It's about the quality of our water, I'll say. Have you or your group experienced issues with water temperature? And do you have complaints about whether the water temperature is too high, too low, just right?
Yes, we have. We mainly just swim out of the White Oaks swim pool, and it's not considered a hot pool, but occasionally it does get very warm, and I remember getting some asthma based because of that, but I don't know if maybe it's a mechanical issue or that's causing the water to get warm, I guess. Or.
Do you have a preferred temperature range? 82? Is that what I'm hearing? Sorry, would you mind repeating that, because I didn't quite hear it?
Someone whispered in my ear, 72 or 82%. 72 to 82.
72 to 82.
82 Fahrenheit.
So dramatically cooler than I think what we've got it at is, dramatically cooler than what I think we've got it at is what I'm hearing. Okay.
Usually the colder the better, because then you
Understood.
get.
Any other questions from the committee or the other members here? No? Thank you very much. I think we're going to ask our staff a few questions and then we'll move on. So I appreciate you taking the time and providing the information. We'll make sure that your presentation is forwarded to the other members as well.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Councillor Algar, do you have a question of our staff?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, and I don't need the information today, but if staff can find out what the rates are in other communities around here. I don't expect them to have that information, but if they could bring it back to us at a later point in time, I'd appreciate it. And also pool temperature, now that you throw it in. Thanks.
Okay, so some information about relative rates across comparable municipalities and pool temperatures. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Could move to our next delegate, please.
Next delegation is Kathy Crooks and Patrick Maverick.
Hi, good morning. So we just want to get a present. Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. We're just getting our presentation up. Okay, thanks. So good morning. So my name is Kathy Crooks. I'm the Human Resources Manager for NovaPac, and I'm joined with Patrick Maverick. He's the Director of Human Resources for our parent company, Accuristics. So we are here today to tell you about our business and what we do as an organization. And we are requesting additional bus route service for our facility in Oakville, which is located at 1595 North Service Road. So who we are, NovaPac is in the business of contract packaging, and we have 4 facilities in the GTA. So in Ontario, we have Oakville, Mississauga, Brampton, and Vaughan. So our clients are some major clients in the pharmaceutical and health and beauty aids industries. So some you may be familiar with, like Bayer and Johnson & Johnson. And so what we do, so these numbers are from 2016. So this is what we do. So we've had over 7,000 shipments, which equivalents to over 74,000 pallets moved into the retail sector. So for example, Johnson & Johnson is one of the biggest packagers in the industry in health and beauty aids. And so this relates into over 2 million consumer units produced, which is over 341,000 labor hours tracked. So that's how much labor hours tracked with our company, which turns into 43 units for every person in Ontario. So I'm going to pass it over to Patrick.
Slide over. Hello. We'll talk a little bit about the ownership structure, and then we'll get to kind of what the requests we're looking for today. So Novapac is a contract packaging, and what we do is we actually do all the packaging for all the pharma products. And I think we have a picture of it here as well. So some of the natural stuff that you'd see going into your Costco or your Walmart, and you'll see these units. This is what we do. We do the secondary packaging on pharmaceutical goods. That includes everything from narcotics to health and beauty items to many different types, your Advil, Tylenol, things like that. We'll work with that. One of the things that attracted us to Oakville was the facility on North Service Road is currently managed by UPS. We're embedded in there at about 1/3 of the facility that we have. And UPS has the Johnson & Johnson business. And they bring the product over, we work on it, we send it back to Johnson & Johnson. We send it back to UPS and then they ship it. The facility is a controlled facility. It's a fully functional ambient facility that's perfect for producing pharmaceutical goods. And that's one of the reasons why we chose that facility and chose Oakville. As we're getting bigger and we're growing, and Johnson & Johnson's product and Bayer's product is hitting the markets more and more, we're seeing more of a need for our shifts. So we've started to open up our shifts. We've got a day shift and we have a night shift now. We'll go into that a little bit in a minute. We'll talk a little bit about the ownership. Novapac's owned by a company called Accuristix. Accuristix is the leading pharmaceutical distributor in Canada. We have 8 facilities across the nation, and we do all the distribution, the moving of the product. We purchased Novapac in 2012 in order to provide us a contract packaging option to our clients. So we ship your product, we pick your product. You know what? We can work your product too now, and that's one of the reasons why we're working with Novapac, and we have Novapac under our umbrella. We have over 1 million square feet of top pharma clients all across the country. So our request today is we're specifically looking at the bus route 120 in the East Industrial area. It's a fantastic growing area for industrial. It's just down Joshua Creek Drive, right at the corner of Joshua Creek and North Service Road. Our shift ends at 12. It's very difficult for our employees to get up. They have to walk all the way up to Upper Middle Road. It's dark. It's not well lit. There's forest on the one side, and then I think there's a lot of construction and some building going on the east side of that as they walk up. We're finding it very difficult to get staff to work the afternoon shift from a safety perspective. They're feeling that it's just too much for them to walk up there. They're choosing not to work with us because of that, and they're choosing to work elsewhere. So we're doing everything we can to ensure a safe environment for them to work in, including coming here today just to see if we can get some support from Oakville Town Council in extending the bus route at later than 12 o'clock. Now, the interesting thing is we understand 120 ends at 6:46 p.m., but the route number 6 that goes across Upper Middle, we thought maybe that's an option. Maybe that's an option where east or west, the bus can come down, do a quick loop down in the industrial area, go right back up to Upper Middle, and then go east-west from there. We think it's a good option. The timing is right. Number 6 has some 11:15 and 11:30 timelines, and we're willing to adjust our schedule a little bit to be able to meet the timelines if the council decides that we could afford putting 6 down Joshua Creek and doing a quick loop and coming back up. We could work with our volumes in that to ensure that our people get out on time to catch the bus around 11:45 1150, something like that. So we're definitely looking to work with you today, and we understand that there's a fiscal component to this that's going to probably make a big part of this decision. So we're really here to partner and kind of, get some opportunities going there. So, as I said, one of the reasons is we're struggling to attract labor, and that's forcing us into different predicaments. Johnson & Johnson's having to reroute product elsewhere to work it elsewhere if we can't get the complement on the night shift that they're looking for. We're a great employer. We hire direct to perm on many occasions. We benefits from day one. We have a good corporate social responsibility. We have a fantastic video that did not make it in the presentation today, and I wish I could show it to you, and that'd be great. And it's about some of the work we do with some of the products that we have. We did a big pack out, about 10,000 units for the refugees, the Syrian refugees that came into the country about 6 to 8 months ago, and we had Johnson & Johnson, and we had some MPPs there as well helping pack out. So we're a great employer and we want to stay in the area. But the reality is it's a fiscal decision, and that might be something that we have to look at down the road. I think that's it. We don't have anything else. So we thought upper middle would be the right opportunity to bring it down. Eastbound it goes 11:10 p.m. Westbound it goes 11:31 p.m. So we think it's a good option to kind of maybe get that bus just to come down and do a quick loop. We're talking about a kilometer, maybe a kilometer and a half at that time. It does extend the service, but it doesn't extend the complete service from 6 p.m. onwards to provide bus routes. So I don't have anything else. Kathy, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
You do have some questions. Councillor Elgar and then Councillor Giddings.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming. How many people do you think would use the bus if, in fact, we chose to do something?
Right now we have about 60 people on our afternoon shift that we need, that's a complement we need. We're only at about 20 of 60 that we're trying to staff, and we're hearing that it's the bus routes and some of that connectivity that's keeping people from coming in. So it's about 40 people on the night shift only.
So how much money would you be willing to bring to the table to help, if in fact staff thinks they can do something? Like, what would you be willing to contribute?
We're contributing quite a bit as it is. We're in Oakville. We're running 2 shifts. We're providing employment and opportunities for people on a regular basis. I'm not sure, are you asking to subsidize the cost for the transit? Okay.
Absolutely, I'm asking.
Yeah.
If you'd be willing to do some kind of a subsidization to try to get it going, to kickstart it, to see if it does work.
We could think about that. I mean, we've thought about doing, in other areas in the city, and Accuristics is all over the GTA and all over Canada, and we've looked at things like providing Metro passes or subsidizing a Metro pass for somebody, right? To the employee themselves, not necessarily to the council, right?
No. Maybe that's what the person might do. I'm just trying to figure out how, if staff are looking at it, and whether, if we negotiate at the table to do a trial or something to see whether it did work, or maybe it wouldn't work at all. But
it's a great idea. Yeah.
Okay. I thank you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I do know that our transit director has some information for us after. Councillor Giddings?
Thanks for coming out and thanks for choosing Oakville.
Yeah.
What days are these shifts operating? Is it 7 days a week or?
Currently Monday to Friday. But we do run overtime on the weekends, and we'll run that during the day. But that'll be if we're behind on volumes, mostly. It's not, the weekends is not as consistent.
And so you'd be willing to alter your shift end time?
Yeah, so we could shift it. So we're currently doing an 8 to 4 and then a 4 to 12, right? So 2 shifts. So we could see it doing a 7:30 to 3:30 and then doing a 3:30 to 11:30, right? And then that gives us that opportunity to kind of grab that upper middle bus, right? If that comes down at 11:30, it gives us an opportunity to get the people out and get them on the routes.
I understand. And are these workers ideally heading east or west?
They're everywhere. So some of them are going to the Go on the west, and I'm not familiar with Oakville too much. And then some of them are actually going up into the Mississauga area around Bristol Circle, where the bus goes.
To Dundas, yeah.
Yeah, 120 does that quick loop over to Dundas and Winston Churchill. So that's where they can go either way. Yeah, we know there's a lot of building that's happening, and we're doing a lot of recruiting up in the north, the West Mississauga, North Oakville area, up Trafalgar, up 9th Line, all those new homes that are being built there, and maybe they're already built. It's been a while since I've been there, but we're doing a lot of recruiting in that area, looking to see if there's opportunities to support our labor needs there.
Great. Thank you.
Great. And then Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for coming, sir. I may have missed the answer in the presentation, but I don't recall hearing, excluding any subsidization as suggested by Councillor Elgar, excluding that, what would be the net cost of this recommended increase?
I think we're going to get to our staff in just a minute. I know
And
that our staff
will-
have some answers for us.
So are you saying we'll probably get that answer then?
We will get further information on the cost and options in a minute, I think.
I'm looking at the net cost.
I understand.
Yeah, okay, I'll wait.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Mr. Green, I'll come to you in just a minute. Let's just get all the questions on the table. Councillor Chisholm?
Okay, I'll make this quick. I just want to be very clear in what your presentation's encompassing here. Are we talking about the safety and security of your employees because you're having an issue now at your business, or is this more of a benefit proactive for employment opportunities, that when you're going out and saying, yes, we have opportunities, we also have transportation to your facility or to your operation? Just want to be very clear on that.
Understand.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're definitely looking at it from an employment opportunity first. But the reason why we're not getting anybody is they're feeling that safety and security of walking up Upper Middle at night at 12:30 to catch the bus at Upper Middle. So they're willing to get up there and catch that bus at Upper Middle or catch a ride or something like that. But so that's just part and parcel to the problem. It's not necessarily the problem. The problem is staffing.
Councillor Lischina?
Just a quick question. What's the total number of employees at your company? And you said you're looking to grow. Is that in the next year or so?
Oh yeah, we've got a lot of growth planned. We've had quite a bit of growth. I can't discuss the private company now, but we have about 160 employees and 150 part-time employees as well.
And do you know what percentage of them are Oakville residents?
I don't know that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Grant?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for choosing Oakville as well. I guess my question is more to, the area does seem to be gathering a lot of local or larger businesses moving to the area. And I'm wondering if we were able to get at least a better bus schedule set up for the area. Would you be willing to at least promote that with other businesses to sort of move to Oakville? Also, would you be willing to work with our economic development team to talk about how Oakville has supported you and possibly use that story as a way of gathering more businesses to invest in Oakville?
Absolutely. I think you're right in that East Industrial area really is growing. And I wonder how many companies are not able or are not actually exploring this option as we are today, right? So it'd be interesting to find out how many other companies in that area are reluctant to put an afternoon shift on because there's no bus routes that are available for that. In addition, you look at a company like Amazon that's coming into the disruptor named Amazon, coming into our environment that's just changing the way we live. And they're doing that. They're looking at areas that check their boxes. And some of the things they're looking at is, do they have the proper transit and ability to get the people to work? And that's so important. And companies kind of look for that first. And I think if Oakville did this, I think there's an opportunity to kind of sell that in the same way you mentioned it.
Okay, so instead of just, and we will be hearing more information in a minute, but instead of looking at this as a cost, you'd almost say that we're looking at this as an investment.
I would assume so, but that's for you to decide. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your delegation. I think we've exhausted all the questions. I know that we've got questions of our staff to respond to your delegation. Mr. Green?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just having a brief conversation at the back with our transit director, Mr. Cole, and Dorothy St. George, our economic director. And what we'd like to have a look at, and we'll certainly, Barry is aware of this issue and has been doing some thinking about it. On an interim basis, we're going to have a look at, as you know, we have the home to hub transit system where we have the smaller rides that we can take people to the nearest hub. Perhaps this is an opportunity to look at it as an employment to a hub to assist in this area, and maybe that can be something that would be more financially attractive. In the longer term, and as Dorothy was saying, it's time to look at the various employers across there. Maybe there is some further opportunity. So from a staff, if with the permission of the committee, we would sort of take this away and work with the company to see what we can actually achieve out there that's economical for both their employees as well as any additional costs that might be involved.
Okay, that's helpful. I understand we've got another delegation on a similar matter, which I suspect the same outcome would be helpful to review the opportunity to use a home-to-hub type shuttle, I'll call it. Councillor Giddings?
Thank you, and perhaps our CEO could just briefly describe the home to hub. We know what it is, but it might remove some of the looks I'm getting here.
I'm making notes, but
Thank
Google
you,
this
Mr.
later.
Chair, and, probably Mr. Cole will be, but I'll take the first stab, and if I'm not getting it right, I'm sure Barry will come down and correct me. The home to hub is where we don't have convenient transit service in a particular area. What we do is we pick that person up at their home in a smaller vehicle and move them to the next transit hub where they can get on the regular transit within Oakville. And it's just a way of dealing with, as some call it, that last mile, which can often be difficult.
Great.
Sir,
So-
does that make sense?
Does, yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions of our staff? Councillor Robinson?
Well, it's the same one, Mr. Chair. I just didn't hear anything yet about net cost, so I presume that'll be coming back in your report back to us?
Certainly, we'll be looking at the net cost.
So I thank you for the delegation. I think what this means is that there'll be some further discussion between yourselves and our transit team with respect to the timing, the number of employees that might be involved, and potentially some understanding of where they're trying to get to in terms of going east or going west. If we're going to take them to one of our central hubs, the question will be, do they wish to go to the Oakville GO Station hub, or do they wish to go somewhere towards Mississauga as a preferred destination? And if you're picking them up at midnight or quarter after or something like that, which is the destination that's a preferred destination?
Just to make the point, so we still don't know where the people are going. We're having trouble recruiting, right? So what we're saying is that's what we're hearing back from our recruiters, is that we don't really know. We know who our people are right now. We've got existing staff, but we're still trying to find the rest of this complement to complete the shifts, but we're struggling because they just can't get up. I can't get there.
I understand, and
Yeah.
we also struggle with that. If you're trying to build a system guessing at where people might want to come from or
Yeah.
might want to go to,
Yeah.
if we're trying to serve you and your employees, we need to understand where do you think your employees are likely to come from,
Right.
and where are they likely to want to go to. So
Right.
we understand that you're recruiting from wherever you can recruit
Yeah,
from,
right.
but you have some demographic information of your existing employee pool, where are they geographically, so to speak. That would be helpful in our understanding of where are we trying to get people to and from.
Great.
Okay,
Got it.
thank you very much. We appreciate your information this morning.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Next.
Our next delegation is Jelena Sperano.
Hi there. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Jelena Sperano, and I'm here on behalf of the North Oakville Bocce Ball Group to propose for your 2018 funding a outdoor bocce ball court in North Oakville community. There has been a large group of men playing bocce ball in Oakville. Most of them moved to Oakville in the 80s. They've been playing at various parks for about 30 years. We really just feel that bocce ball is a growing sport, and it's really just for all ages. And there's lots of benefits of bocce ball. There is, you get exercise. It's a great initiative for the healthy senior community living and the growing senior population. It's great for exercise, flexibility, concentration, community connectedness. It's wonderful for companionship and social activity for anybody that's, ease loneliness. We feel that it's also not just for the senior population, but it's a sport that can be played for any ages. Maybe not the very young age because the balls are a little bit heavy, but it's for every skill level. It's for every ability, even language barriers. You don't really have to be speaking the same language to play to kind of just say, you know, put that ball next to that ball. It's just a great thing. And we just think that if it was built in our community, that a lot of people would come and play. What we propose is an outdoor bocce court. We met with a few council members and Town of Oakville staff last year, and we met at Iroquois Ridge Community Centre. And we did find an ideal spot of where we would like to propose one to be built beside the tennis courts there on Iroquois Ridge. What we're proposing, and you'll see in my document that I'll have, I guess, the clerk scanned to you later on, is 2 to 4 lanes. I think the spot that we picked might fit 3. And along with that, these men play pretty much all year round. They play in light snow, they play in the light rain, they play into the evening. So we kind of need a facility that has some lighting, some seating, some shade, because they do play on the hottest of the days and really cold days as well. So you will see here in our document that I'll scan to you later, a proposed, dimensions and, things that they would need around it. Another thing that will be in the document is just some visuals of some lanes. I just found some pictures of bocce courts that already have, shading, seating, lighting, just some examples to share with you if you wanted to include any of those in your plan to help your planning process if it was included in the plan. One main thing is the North Oakville Bocce Ball group. They have volunteered to maintain the outdoor bocce ball court on a day-to-day basis if they are provided a key to a shed that maybe housed some of the tools and had some access to kind of spray it. The courts are made from a limestone dust, so it's beneficial to kind of spray it down once in a while, and just like some type of leveling tool that they would be able to access, and that would definitely save on your maintenance costs during the year. So why do we need a proper bocce court in North Oakville? There's been some issues in the last 30 years of the men playing in local parks, most of which, sometimes 25 men come at once on a nice day. There's always a core group, but on a nice day they'll attract about 25, 30 men, and parking has always been an issue. Right now they're at Laurelwood Park, which is close to Glen Ashton, and sometimes there are minor accidents with so many cars being legally parked on the street, but residents backing into them. There's been issues with running into other sports that are being played at the park, baseball, and there's also a children's area there, so it's just not ideal. They try to make good use of the space, but there's been injuries from flying baseballs hitting somebody in the head. There's been verbal abuse, because I think sometimes the neighbors get a little bit upset with the crowds that come out. There has been car vandalism, and this has been going on since the 80s. I believe that they approached the town a few years ago to build a court, and I guess it wasn't the right time, but we just really feel that now is the right time. We just think it would attract a lot of people in the community, all levels, all skills, all cultures. It's a very diverse sport, and we just feel like it shouldn't be this hard, stressful, or dangerous to play bocce ball in Oakville, specifically North Oakville. I did a little bit of research on current bocce courts in the GTA, and we're actually surrounded by cities that have indoor and outdoor courts in the GTA. There was a report that I found from the city of Hamilton in 2011. It's a few years old, but they did a parks usage report specifically on bocce ball usage, and they just found that they're well used, they're well liked. For example, Hamilton has about 45 indoor and outdoor courts. Burlington has some beautiful outdoor courts at LaSalle Park. Milton has an indoor and outdoor court. Mississauga has about 18. Brampton has 4 outdoor courts, but 12 in total. And the Bocce Ball capital, probably of Ontario, Woodbridge, Vaughan area, has, a few years ago, has about 65. I'm sure that's grown since then. And I have family there. I take my kids to parks there once in a while when we meet the cousins, and I do see the community, not just seniors, but the community enjoying these courts indoor and out, and they're beautiful facilities. Toronto has many community centers, Markham, Richmond Hill. Everybody around us has these wonderful bocce courts to play. Oakville, from my understanding, has one indoor and one outdoor court in the Kerr Village area. Not widely used, and I believe the reason for that is just because they're not properly built. There are some private clubs around Oakville, but once again, we're looking for a public dedicated outdoor bocce ball court. So what have we done? We tried to get this going with the town a few years ago. It wasn't the right time. Last October, we met with a few people and found the ideal area that we think would be a good spot, which is Iroquois Ridge. And last December, the men have formed the core recreation and culture group, named the North Oakville Bocce Ball Group. So this is the group that you would maybe entrust to maintain this on a day-to-day basis to keep your maintenance costs down. Another thing I would like to say, I mean, we're proposing an outdoor court. Ideally, we would love an indoor court at some point in the future, because the men do travel to other cities in the winter. So if it's a light snow, they will actually shovel a pathway and keep playing if it's a mild day. But in big snow or big rain, they do travel to other cities like North York or Mississauga to go and play in indoor courts. So in the future, we'll try for an indoor court as well. Right now, we're just proposing a proper outdoor court with the proper dimensions and properly built. In closing, we just feel like it's the right time. Bocce ball is, we feel, an ultimate recreational activity for all ages. We're surrounded by our neighboring cities in the GTA with proper courts, and I think our longtime residents who are so loyal to the sport would just really love and desire something like this. And I just think for our community, it's one of those things that if you build it, they will come. I think it'll just attract, once it's there, people will say, oh, what's that? I want to learn how to play. And I just think it'll be great, especially in that park. It'll certainly enrich their social lives, not having to have all of these issues playing in regular parks. And I just think it'll stimulate community participation. Attached with the document, you'll find, once again, a proposed dimension of a proper size, some examples of some court pictures, and you'll also find an example of an article where we found 10 benefits to playing bocce ball, which is, like we talked about, the flexibility, concentration, friendship, community connectedness. And that's what we propose, and we're hoping that you would consider this in the 2018 budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. We have asked our staff to provide a formal report to us on this matter. It should be coming for our December 12th meeting. And you do have a whole bunch of questions from a whole bunch of our council members. So starting with Councillor Elgar.
Thank you for coming. I guess you don't need to, you sold it in the first 5 minutes about interest in it. So I'm curious, what size are you looking for? Are you looking for regulation size or a modified size?
Yes, I mean, it's 90 feet long. If you want me to give you dimensions,
well,
I can.
13 by 91 is the regulation size.
After speaking to the resident experts, they were thinking 12 by 90, 12 feet wide by 90, and to have 2 or 3 of the courts there.
So now you've already scoped out where you think it would work. So
we took a walk around the facility at Iroquois Ridge, right, and found we were thinking first behind where the soccer field is, and then we found that it was too close to something that was already existing there. So we just walked to the front and we found one, but beside the tennis courts, there's a nice big patch of grass, and I believe that there is existing water line there. And the good thing about this is it's got existing parking and, most importantly, washroom facilities for the men. parking facilities, and I believe that there's existing lighting that they could use that come off of the tennis courts.
So have this group of Bocce Ball men that are got together, have they approached the town before this about
Yes, about
this?
5 years ago, I believe, they were approached. When I did speak to Tom and Natalia and Chris Mark about this, they remembered that they did come a few years ago.
So this ballpark, you must have an idea what it would cost to build one from research you've done around all the different places.
I tried to include that in the report. I think it depends on what amenities you put around it. I believe it's somewhere in the ballpark of about 40 to 50,000. But it's just
for three or four.
I think once you build one, to build the two or the three is just not that big of a difference. But I think if you're putting in trees, if you're putting in benches, if you're putting in lighting, that's where, depending on where you would choose to put it, that's where your costs would increase. That's why it would be good to look for a spot where it already has some existing lighting and maybe a water line. I don't know exactly.
I appreciate that. I'm obviously, Councillor Adams is saying that staff are going to report back to our meeting, so we'll have all the details at that point. It doesn't sound that complicated.
No, it's really not.
To me, when you start mentioning it. I'm not sure how it would work as far as you maintain it. I think probably if it's a town facility, the town would probably be doing the maintenance. So.
I mean, we would offer and volunteer that to cut down costs.
I appreciate that.
You know, when some of the men go down to Florida in the south and they maintain it themselves, it's just like a type of sifting tool because it is that fine type of dust, and putting the water on it, and it's not much, but you know, to keep it nice and smooth and to keep the game fair and honest, you'd like to have a clean surface.
I hear you, and thanks for coming out, and I look forward to what staff are going to come back with at a later point.
Thank you.
We are going to get our staff report back, and we will have a capital number and operating estimate as part of it as well. Mayor Burton?
I'm glad to have your information. Council in 2017 reviewed and updated its Parks and Recreation Master Plan, and somehow we missed you because what Council wound up adopting says that the outdoor bocce courts in Trafalgar Park have since been removed due to a lack of use, leaving the town with no courts in its park system. It's understood that there have been a small number of requests for the installation of bocce courts in Glen Ashton Park. However, the sport traditionally has a very, very narrow market, and its trajectory across most of the GTA is one of steep decline. As such, the reintroduction of bocce into the Oakville Park system should only be considered where there's a demonstrated need and in partnership with a local community group. So I would summarize Council's position on the matter as waiting for a demonstration of need and a local community group to partner with. You appear to have met those needs. So all I can say is I'm glad you came. I'm sorry that we missed you on the Parks and Rec update.
That's okay if we can.
Maybe there's a way forward here now.
Thank you.
Councillor Grant?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I'm looking at a map of the tennis courts. Is a bocce court something that have a multi-use purpose to it, or is it just that's it?
No, I believe that that's it. You don't really want to disrupt and ruin the sand, the limestone sand dust.
When you're talking about near the tennis courts, are you talking specifically around that area, or?
Yes, it doesn't go too close. There's a big patch of grass there. I believe there's a big patch of grass somewhere between the tennis courts and the playground area.
Could I help you
on
this?
Please.
So the space is right between the tennis courts and the play structure area.
Thank you.
There's a patch there that I'll say goes north and south. That's the target location for it. We've cited that space. It rarely gets used for anything else. That park is also where we run the Northeast Oakville Fair, which tends to be on the east side of the play structure and not in that location
And that was the
specifically
other question,
anyway.
okay.
So,
All right, it's, again, I just, we are running out of so many free play spaces for kids these days. It would be a shame to lose another one, but if it looks like it fits in, and we'll see the report, I guess, we'll see what happens from
And
there.
I think we just did some basic measuring, and we saw that 3 lanes would fit in, which would be great.
okay, and then we've got some questions on the other side here. Councillor Robinson?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for coming and bringing your leadership with you this evening. Are you familiar with the Lakeshore Woods area? Southwest Oakville, a relatively new community, about 1,500 homes and extreme diversity of people. And it's taken us quite a little while to get anything to happen there recreational-wise, but we will be opening 3 new tennis courts in the spring. And last year we opened a small basketball court, and sometimes we have ice out there depending on the weather. Have you analyzed the options for a bocce ball court in that area?
I haven't. We were, I guess, just concentrating where most of these men that I know are playing, which is the North Oakville area, Ward 6. I have not explored any other parks in
I
Oakville.
have a feeling, and it's only a feeling at this point because I haven't done anything about it either, but I have a feeling or a thought that there might be a number of people with that love of the sport in that area that would like to become involved. So I'm just suggesting you might consider thinking about that and doing some research out there as well. And if you want me to help you, I'd be glad to.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Chisholm?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. A couple of questions, and some little background. I've been involved with Bocce Court way back when, and Silvano, Angelo Silvano is going back for 10 years. We put the one down at the Lions Pool down in the basement, and there was a couple of courts. And at that time, it was moving, but again, through attrition, they started dropping off because they were older gentlemen and so forth. So if there's a resurgence happening in North Oakville, all the power to you. A couple questions. How many are in this group now, membership with they call it the North Bocce group?
I'd say there's about 25, but
25.
you know, men come different times of the year, depending on different temperature. The men that I know are the core loyal group who will play in almost any type of weather.
And your point's well taken, and just for clarification for my colleagues and so forth, with respect to this, when you're designing a bocce court, this is a very single source sport, and as the question was asked, there's no alternative for any other activity on these courts. The challenge I have with this is that if we're going down this pathway, it morphs into a club membership, no doubt, because it's a single source and they're gentlemen playing. There's not really any public access out there unless the group is starting to market to bring people in, young children and so forth. That would be very important to me, is that if we're going down this pathway, that'd be an important aspect. We do have certain relationships and partnerships with the town, with the lawn bowling club and so forth, and our tennis clubs. I would suspect, and not knowing the reports I don't know what's in the report, but if we, again, going down this path, that there would be a very clear, concise memorandum of agreement how this would work if we go down this path.
Of course.
With respect to how it's going to work, with respect to standards and safety and everything else. So I just wanted to make that clear to our colleagues that it's important, because I think there is a need for it, but how we approach it is going to be a task that has to be undertaken by staff and the relationship with the bocce group.
Right.
Thank you.
I think the intent is to definitely make it public. It's not just for this bocce group. We formed the bocce group so the town would maybe have confidence in giving them the key to maintain it every day if you wanted to save on maintenance costs. It was never an idea to just have it for them, for a specific time of day. It would be completely open to the public. If someone was to come up, then just like anybody else, they would wait their turn until that game is over, and then they would join in. It would definitely be for public usage, and that's why I said, every cultural diversity. It would not just be for this group, and therefore no membership fees, nothing like that.
Councillor Gina?
Yelena, thank you for your presentation. Could you comment, so far it seems like it's a men's club. or at
Yes.
least gentlemen in this, are women invited, or is
Yes,
this
definitely.
normally not?
Definitely. I should have
Could you just
actually.
comment on that,
And I
please?
actually like to play. I don't know why I didn't include that. Yes, definitely. There are, when they go to other areas, definitely the women play. Sometimes the women do come and play. We have our own private picnics sometimes, and definitely the women take part. There's also a group of 40-year-olds in the Joshua Creek area who are very keen on getting this, which also I didn't mention. You know, it's something that we've been buzzing about for the last year, and people are getting excited, and it is for males and females.
happy to hear that. Thank you.
Well, I love to play.
Okay, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. So just as some background, I'm familiar with what's been going on. And the group, for as long as I've been around, this group has been playing in the Laurelwood Park, first on the baseball diamond space, and then second, more recently in the last year, we've designed I'll call it a temporary court, which is just a bunch of wood boards surrounding some gravel, basically. How's the group accommodated themselves in that space this past summer?
To be honest, they appreciated the effort in the temporary court. It's about 10 feet shorter than what they're used to, so it's harder for them to play on a shorter court. They definitely get use out of it, more use on a wetter day when they want to throw it a bit longer. They'll play right beside it, but they are using it. But like I said, it's a temporary solution, and it's not the proper length, unfortunately. But we do appreciate the efforts that were put into accommodating that until a proper one was built.
Okay. A few years ago, we explored moving the bocce group to Grenville, and it didn't successfully move to the Grenville Park because the neighbors didn't want it there. I believe the location that we're targeting now is a much better location, but I don't think it'll have the kind of lighting it's not going to have overnight lighting, so to speak. The tennis court, we have explored lighting that tennis court in the past, and the neighbors don't want to have lighting facing their homes across Glen Ashton. So that's one piece that we need to be aware of.
I think one of the pictures that I present in this package, you can incorporate the solar lighting within the panel boards, which would come on automatically. So there's options if you wanted to think about lighting.
Okay, so we'll get those details worked out with Chris in a minute. Mayor Burton, did you have a further question?
Councillor Chisholm raised an interesting point. On our tennis courts, on our major tennis court installations, we have clubs that are associated with the facility. There's a number of places in town recreation where we have organized clubs to partner with. And the report I read you mentioned a group to partner with. Paradoxically, even when we do that, we still provide for public access or public ad hoc access outside of club hours. But we often look for a group that's formally, that it exists, that we can sort of treat as a responsible partner. This group, which has been playing ad hoc for so many years, since the 80s, are they willing to organize and constitute themselves into a club like the curling club, the lawn bowling club, the various tennis clubs and so on? Or is that more work than it's worth for them?
What does that entail? Does that mean asking for community membership, or I don't really know. I think in their mind, they're just willing to help and cut down costs and maintain it, and they're experts, so it would be very well done. I don't know what you mean in terms of...
Well, a club is not a really elaborate social structure, but it's more informal than formal, but you have memberships, you have officers, you have someone for the town to talk to who is connected with the rest of the players, so that so that the town knows who to talk to?
Yes, there's a few key people here. There's 3 men back here, and I'm sure we would be able to give 1 or 2 names that you would have a contact with, and at any time. Name, contact number, and if anyone happened to call the town and say, I want to learn how to play bocce and can I meet them one day, then they'll be there and they can show them the ropes.
So they're not opposed to doing a little bit of a club-like organization that they've never had to do before?
I think that they really want to
They
just...
have to, you know, we need a leader.
Yeah, I think that you can
Maybe
have...
they could talk you into being the club
Well, I mean,
president.
I'm representing, and
The guys heard my suggestion, they're all in favor of it.
I think that, you know, they would be able to be a contact for you. They would be able to answer any questions for you. We would be able to publish a name or a number. Hi, Victor.
I think we put her in the bad spot here. She's just beginning to play bocce.
Welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself? And
I am
maybe you
Victor
can answer the
Sarek,
mayor's.
and I've been in Oakville since 1969. I play bocce since I was probably 12 years old. I go to Florida, and I saw what happened there. The city has beautiful courts. The city organizes in Florida, I'm in Fort Lauderdale, they organize tournaments. We are a couple of hundred. It goes a few weeks until elimination comes to the last, few. In Oakville, I travel to Windsor to play in tournaments. Kitchener, Waterloo, London, that's easy. I play in the Croatian Center up in Norval because they have a courts. We cannot invite somebody to play tournaments with us because we don't have facility. If we have a facility, we organize, we will play it, we organize groups. As far as the women, my wife is a better player than I am now. She never played before. In Florida, she started playing, and now it's not a hard trick. You just have some feeling how fast ball can go on certain terrain. We organize maintaining the field because we prefer to be very even. So we do that. All we need is the tool shed, but nobody takes our stuff away. We get old carpet, we get water, and we do that. I do that in Florida on the basis every morning. I go play there 5 days a week, 9 o'clock in the morning. Second group comes 12 o'clock. Third group comes 3 o'clock. We divide between ourselves. Where are you going to play? Where am I going to play? And that's how we play. So it's not easy, it's not hard, and it's not expensive. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars every year maintaining it. We do that. If we have to buy limestone dust, we buy it. It's a few bucks a bag, we level it, and we play on it. So that's really what it is.
The floor is yours, Mayor Burton, are you done?
Mr. Sarah, I just wonder, are you comfortable with forming a club?
Yeah, when we go to Windsor, a Windsor Croatian Bocce club. So we go there is about 100 of us. When we go to Kitchener, it's about 60, 80. We go to Croatian Center up there, it's all Bocce clubs. But I go to Italian, I go to and her father, we travel, I'm up on Woodbridge, and we play there for nights and nights. And it's a clubs, if they want you to pay a couple of dollars, we play because we are not living there. Mississauga, same thing. When I go there, I pay because I'm not a member I don't live in Mississauga.
In terms of club, I could be the contact for administrative to the town, and they could be the physical people that you need.
I feel like I just conducted a marriage or something. Congratulations on the formation of your club and your successful recruit of a president. Thank you very much for being here and for your information.
On top of all that, I'd say over the last year that they've organized themselves more like a club than they've ever been before. So I certainly see the startings of it. Councillor Chisholm, did you have a further question?
Yeah, just to add to the mayor's comments, and understanding and mindsets. And what I mean by that is that I understand what you would like to have, but there's also a position where the town would come and with respect to what that's going to be. It's the devil in the details. So if we go down this path, it has to be very clear and articulated what the roles and responsibilities of this group, and what the roles and responsibilities of the town, and what is incurred and how it operates. Because I totally understand, because I've been down this road before. You guys just want to play bocce. You just want to go out and do that thing. Well, there's more to it than that. And I mean, times have changed and so forth with legal liability and all the wonderful, I guess, if you want to call it wonderful things, that have to happen in order to make sure this facility, and I'm going to call it a facility because there's costs incurred on the capital costs down the line, if that's appropriate. But what I'm suggesting, it's just not, because you're talking about going to Windsor, going here. I heard tournaments. That opens up a different bag altogether. So we have to really clear, is this just a recreational bunch of gentlemen get together, or are we looking at tournaments? And you don't have to answer that. I just to say, if we go into those negotiations, they have to be discussed and vetted out.
Yeah, I would like to, I think just start with recreation. And then if the town wants me to organize a tournament one time, I can organize a tournament.
I don't think we're going there. Let's keep it simple. Mayor Burton?
For council, I'm content to have pointed out that we have a kind of a policy basis in our plan that would permit us to explore this. Council has a lot of these relationships, and we've had the right answers to begin a relationship here. The details we will all work out, and it'll come to council, and council will make a decision. I'm going to give in to my sense of humor and parody the Prime Minister. The details will solve themselves.
I think we have exhausted our questions of you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. It was very, very helpful. Mr. Mark, would you be able to give us a prelude to what's to come in the report? I know we've had a number of discussions over the last year or so on this, and I know that there's a variation in the capital estimate, and there's some variation in the operating impact depending on the choices that are made. Would you be able to give the committee and the council members a little bit of information today, or do you prefer to wait until the 12th? The mayor wants to wait till the real deal.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very, very much.
Out of kindness to Mr. Mark, I think we should wait for the real deal.
He's retreating happily. Okay. We have one more formal delegation, I think.
Our last listed delegation is Maria Aziz.
Good morning. So my name is Marie Aziz. I'm coming on behalf of St. Peter and St. Paul Coptic Orthodox Church on Invicta Drive, 1177 Invicta Drive. And actually, I'm also coming to represent also the East Faith Korean Presbyterian Church on the same street, 1126 Invicta Drive. So we're coming today to ask for actually extended bus route service, which somebody from Novapac came and spoke to also today. And it actually, coincidentally, is the same route of bus route number 120 East Industrial. So why are we making the request? So the industrial demographic has changed. So now there are 2 new athletic complexes, 3 large churches, numerous large businesses, theaters, fitness centers, and 4 large malls in the area. Right now, there is no easy, affordable, convenient access to and from the churches at the times of service. Basically, I'm going to get into this and the details of it, but this is a big problem right now that the congregations are facing. So I took some pictures. So going into North Service Road, and then this is Invicta Drive. And you're going to see that through the street, there's the East Faith Korean Presbyterian Church. And along the street, there are several businesses. So it's not just for us, but for the whole community that would benefit from this. And here is going into the church parking lot. This is the church. And I want to make a point that the church capacity used to be, the old building used to be around about 200 families, but only the ones that were really going were about 100 and 150 families. But since the new church building to 2016, now there's a capacity for 850 families. Currently, there's 300 families that are going, but the future, there's a lot more coming. So I'm just showing you the sides of the church here so that you can see that the parking lot and that there's a way around the church. Here's the back parking lot. And this, again, the church from the front. So the rise of the number of the congregation, so there increases the need of service. So right now, like I said, there's 300 families in the St. Peter and St. Paul Coptic Orthodox Church, and there's also 100 families in the that are being served at the East Faith Korean Presbyterian Church. This is the church from the inside. This is at Sunday Mass. And this is the inside of the dome. So I just brought this question, for the citizens survey, it identified Oakville as having the lowest satisfaction rate in all town services, 52%. And the survey indicated also for the category of ease of traveling around Oakville that people marked the increasing the frequency of public transit on existing routes as the second highest priority. So people are concerned about this. Your website indicates we all need accessibility. So right now, we are missing part of this accessibility, especially for various categories of people. The seniors, to allow them to enjoy the service, to maintain their independence, to play a role in the community, which depends a great deal on affordable, secure, and accessible transit. How many times have one of our older people, whether it's a grandmother or grandfather, or somebody that's alone that has no family here, wants to attend something, wants to be involved, but they don't feel like they want to keep asking somebody and to depend on somebody. Can you take me? Can you bring me? Oh, somebody didn't show up on time. They have to make a phone call. Oh, I can't find somebody. Oh, can you give me a lift? People feel this sense of psychologically they're feeling down, and they want to feel this independence. So public transportation is very important for this category of people, and not only for the seniors. It's also the youth between the ages of 14 and 16 who are under the age of driving, the new immigrants, families on fixed incomes. These are all people that would benefit from an increase in transportation. So it allowed these groups of people an opportunity to practice their faith, to increase the business opportunity in the area. A decision was made to extend Route Bus 120 East Industrial to Dundas Street. So would it not be advantageous to also include an increase in frequency of service to the weekends to benefit other businesses and organizations along its route? So the examples are Oakville Place, Toronto Rock Lacrosse, Joshua's Creek Arena, Nucleus and Independent Living, Cineplex Cinemas, Winston Churchill, iFly, Toronto, restaurants in this complex like Boston Pizza, Home Depot, Panera Bread, PetSmart Plaza, LA Fitness, Chapters Plaza. All these are along its route, the same bus. Also, it's not just in terms of church for its internal services, but also the church provides external services to the community. So the examples are the food banks for the homeless, bazaars, fundraising suppers, charitable events, and other activities that raise funds, not only for the less fortunate, but also for the impoverished that live well below the poverty line. So it's not just a question of only our Coptic Orthodox community or the East Faith Presbyterian community, but it's also a benefit to the community overall. So the budget, the situation, what are we talking about? So budget is directly related to ridership. So the round costs around $5, $2.45 one way. And the bus, an estimate, maybe around $70 or $80 an hour. I'm not really sure, but it's in that ballpark area. So ridership would cover a significant amount of the cost. Right now, we have about 65 seniors in the church. We have about 100 youth in the church. I'm talking about the main categories of people that would benefit. Yes, other people would benefit as well, but I'm talking about where we're going to get most of that cost back. So to increase the ridership, people look for convenience. So if people don't find it's not convenient, it's not coming at the times that I need, or where I need it, then people are not going to ride. So September 2009, when the service increased, for 32 consecutive months, the ridership kept going up. Same in September 2016, service increased, 13 months, 12 months, the ridership went up. So we can see that it's directly linked. So both churches' main service times are on the weekends. So main service times for St. Peter and St. Paul Coptic Orthodox Church, Friday evening, 7:30 to 10 p.m., mainly for the youth and graduates. Saturday morning masses, 9 a.m., followed by senior citizen services and activities until 2 p.m. Sunday mass, 8:30 a.m., followed by Sunday school, choir, various activities until approximately 2:30 p.m. And I forgot to mention also that besides the church as service for prayer, there's also a gym for the youth. And there's a lot of other youth activities as well, and there's a banquet hall. So there's a lot of area to grow as well. The East Faith Korean Church schedule also is Saturdays 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. So my three precise requests today, or our three precise requests today, basically is to increase the bus service, to extend it on Saturdays and Sundays. So I just put some times there, but it doesn't have to be to the dot. It's just an idea of what we would need. And two is that currently the bus number 120 East Industrial departure from Oakville Go on weekdays is 8:35 a.m. It doesn't start again until 3:25 p.m. Sorry, that's a typo. And the East Faith Korean Church runs a senior program on Tuesdays between 10 a.m. and 2:15 p.m. So an increase in service to include a 9:40 a.m. departure from Oakville Go and a return pickup on Invicta Drive at 2:30 would assist these seniors. Finally, for the bus to actually come into Invicta Drive to drop and pick up the seniors and other people, because it's cold, it's windy, it's slippery, snowy weather, they're not going to be able to walk. It's just about a 400-meter inside the street. And like I showed you in the pictures, there's room for the bus to turn around. It's just a couple of extra minutes in the time to extend that the route. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other questions? Councillor Elgar.
You were here for the morning. You heard about
Yes.
what we have, the home to hub. Do you have any idea of what volumes you may be talking about? Like, you're talking one person, 5 people, 100 people?
Well, right now we have about 65 seniors, and we have about 100 youth. It not necessarily means that all of them are going to come at all the times, but for sure, many of them would benefit, if not all.
How are they getting there today?
Well, a lot of people don't actually go from the seniors sometimes, and sometimes they do depend on people to pick them up and to drive them. The other thing is, some people call the special, I don't know what you call it, the bus, for the disabled. But not everybody has access to the service. Not everybody can benefit from that.
Okay, I look forward to the staff report that'll be coming back on
Yeah.
this. I thank you.
Any others? Councillor Listrina?
Marie, did you actually do a survey or ask the membership about them wanting to have this type of service?
Yes, we did a survey for the seniors, and they all wanted, obviously. I mean, you know how, are they going to come necessarily, all of them? I can't for sure guarantee, but I do know that a significant amount will benefit from it.
But where are they coming from? Are they in Northeast Oakville, or we're talking throughout the town?
Well, a lot of them are close to the area. They're not far from Invicta Drive, but not within 2-3 kilometers, but within the 10-15 kilometers, like around. And
Any
also,
others?
sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted also to say that besides the Oakville community of 300 families, currently there's also some families coming from Burlington as well. So I'm just saying that, I can see that in the future, between 1 and 2 years, that the population right now is going to increase drastically, because just by building the new church, we went from 150 families to 300 families. It doubled. So I'm imagining that it's going to keep increasing as well when there's public service as well for transportation.
Councillor Giddings?
Thank you. I guess my question is more for the Director of Transit. At the appropriate time, when I assume information will be coming back on this, I'd be curious to see the ridership increases that have been experienced over 4 years on this route. Thanks.
Thank you.
Councillor Grant?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. A number of churches that are, let's call them incubator churches, do invest in getting a bus for themselves to pick up people. Have you considered that at all?
Well, like I said, it's not just a benefit for the church per se, but also for the whole area, like all the business areas. Like on the same street, there are several businesses. But for sure, if there's like a trip or a special occasion, we would consider definitely renting. But on a regular basis, I don't know if that's going to be so feasible. I mean, I would have to look into it more, to be honest.
You understand the concern about talking about businesses is that a number of those businesses operate Monday to Friday, and you're asking for Saturday and Sunday. So it's difficult to consider that the bus
Yes.
would be of service to these businesses on a Saturday and a Sunday.
I understand, but we also have Friday evening. That's one thing. And the other thing that I want to make a point of is weekends are actually a lot less costly because you have 52 weekends. And as opposed to the weekdays, it's 5 days a week. So I'm thinking that, in terms of budgeting, it's not going to be as high as the expense, especially if it covers a significant amount by ridership.
I guess we'll wait to see what the
Yeah.
transit director has for us to say about that.
All right.
Any other questions? Are you open to this concept of a home-to-hub shuttle format?
Yes.
You are? Okay.
Yes, we are. We're trying to find any convenient way that's as less costly as possible for the seniors and for the youth to come to church and to the services and to the activities.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Could I ask our transit director if he could just give us a comment about how he envisions dealing with this particular question of a route change or a shuttle service or home-to-hub service in this area, whether he imagines dealing with this as part of the in-year changes that might happen, or whether he thinks this is a special topic that needs to be dealt with through the budget.
Through you, Mr. Chair. The home-to-hub solution, or sort of an on-demand service for industrial, would work well for the Novapac request because it's very specific in terms of time. When we're looking at the weekend, you have to remember that the home-to-hub service is a commingled service with our specialized transit, so it relies on the dedicated bus fleet that we already have out on the street for specialized transit, and we have to strike a very delicate balance. We don't want to overburden that service to the point where we're pushing people who qualify by virtue of a disability off of that service. So I don't envision home-to-hub being a solution for this particular ask. It would be more of a fixed route service, possibly a modified Route 20 service. We can narrow it down to some very specific times. Just for example, operating weekend, so Saturday, Sunday, just something between 7:30 and 6:30 in the evening. Saturday, Sunday would probably be about $70,000 gross. That service currently operates at about 29% cost recovery. So about $50,000 would be the net. Now the area has shown, in answer to Councillor Gidding's question on ridership, the area has shown tremendous growth in ridership since that route was first put in 2013. Ridership's grown almost 200%, 197% it's gone up. So there's a lot of potential in the area, but it is very difficult to pinpoint, exactly how much benefit there would be over the weekend. It would take about 27 rides per hour to recover all of the costs of the service.
Okay. You just said 70,000 gross, 50,000 net. Was that the weekend only impact?
Correct.
If you were running a Saturday, Sunday?
That would be a Saturday, Sunday fixed route service that over the current route, hourly service.
So that would be continuing the existing 120 route for the mornings of both weekend days?
Correct. So continuing the existing 120, operating Saturday, Sunday between about 7:30 in the morning and 6:30 in the evening.
But not bringing it into Invicta Drive, that's coming along.
We would have to put a stop in, a weekend only stop on Invicta, and we would have to route the service up Invicta and back.
Okay, so there,
That's the
it's
easiest part of
a
this.
modified 120 route is what you're saying, okay. All right, so if the committee asks you to report back on options to address the issues of the 120 route, to include both the issues brought by both sets of delegations, you could bring something back for us on the December 12th meeting date?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for staff? Very good. Appreciate your time. Mayor Burton?
I wonder if Mr. Cole would consider including in his work for the committee a calculation based on a charter model where, I mean, really what we heard is a need for a really specific timed in and out, over and back, 2 trips for the one group, a trip over, a trip back at a set time, and so on for each of the identified users in the church. I agree with my council friend who suggested that the other businesses and other activities on the route are unlikely to be open or using any of it. So left to their own devices, the church might rent a school bus for $2 a ride at a set time at a location like the GO station or wherever they wanted people to pick it up, take them over, take them back. That would be more efficient, no matter who does it, than us running a route where, for most of the time we got empty buses. And the thing that the taxpayers of Oakville give us the most feedback on is their distaste for empty buses. So could we look at more of a, I'm calling it a bus rental or bus charter solution. And it may be that we can be competitive with the private sector. It may be that we can't be competitive with the private sector. And it may be that the church would like to help pay for the service to get its parishioners to the services on time. There's a song there about getting to the church on time I vaguely heard once. But maybe we could work together instead of creating a thing that would add to our empty bus problem, which I'm loath to add to.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Any other comments on this particular item? Very good. I'm going to poll the audience. Are there any other members of the public here who wish to provide information to the committee on any matters regarding the budget? Going once, going twice. I see no other members of the public who wish to provide information to us today. Members of committee, we've heard a number of delegations today, and from that I believe that there's a request for some additional information, and I would suggest that we pass a recommendation that staff report on information on pool costs in other municipalities and pool temperatures within the town pools, and second, that staff report on options to provide transit service along Route 120. I'll say that in a general way to cover both sets of questions.
You mean recirculate the previous reports on pool temperatures?
That may be what our staff wish to do.
I'm just saying
I know we've dealt with this.
The 100th time
We've looked at pool temperatures a number of times over the years, but it's a question that resurfaces in this water.
Well, because we have dozens of
And as I understand it, we don't really have a true cold water pool to meet this particular group's interest.
Because we don't have a cold water group capable of using all of a pool's time, and we try to rent the pool to as many as we can, but sure, have the report.
Very good. Are there any other requests that a member of committee would like to get additional information on beyond those two? Okay, I don't see any. Could I get a motion to ask our staff that? Mayor Burton, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. So I'm going to recess our meeting now. We will reconvene on Thursday evening. So we'll reconvene at 7 o'clock on Thursday, November 30th. I look forward to seeing everybody at that time.